Welcome to another episode of Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. It is episode 20, and we're here to talk about whether the Resistance is a trap or if they just got really good since the points change. Who knows? With me tonight to find out is my good team, Mr. Matthew and Mr. Charles. How are you guys doing tonight, sirs?
Well, man, thanks.
We didn't hear Charles, so hopefully he's doing good too.
It would be great if I unmuted my mic before I started talking. I'm doing well. It's one of those nights, guys. But other than that, I am doing well.
Well, awesome. Tonight we have a pretty amazing show planned. Essentially, I wanted to talk a little bit about the recent GSP event. We're going to do list breakdowns, see kind of how the meta shaped up a little bit, and what's coming out in hyperspace. Also, we're going to cover the Resistance ships because I think it's still important that we actually look at, because we didn't get through the Resistance, I don't think, the bombers last week. So Matt said, hey, what the hell's wrong with you, Chris? Why did we not go through these?
Well, it's because I wanted to fly one without like all the input. I just wanted to see what it was like. It went pop, pop.
Pop, pop. That is true. So tonight we are going to be doing that and having that type of a conversation about the new Resistance list. And then we're also going to be kind of going over any of the changes to lists that we really like. But before we get into it tonight, why don't we talk a little bit about what brought us to X-Wing today? So what excites you this week, Matt?
Oh, what excites me this week is, I don't know, I'm building some of the newer lists. I'm kind of happy to see that some of the points are starting to come down just a little bit. And we're starting to see I think a little bit more flexibility from old groups, which is actually something I was going to kind of mention on stream, but we'll go over later. But what I've been seeing, and I don't know, other people's mileage may vary, but a lower impact on the game from these two new boxes, and more of an impact on those slightly lowering and the slight modifications of the actual points that we've been seeing. So, to me, I'm kind of excited that, it looks like you can fit a little bit more, fit that little list just slightly different, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm excited about this week.
How about you, Charles?
I am still, this is probably the third week in a row, still super excited for overtuned modulators. Realistically, I haven't had a chance to play the game since our in-person tournament, which was 2-3 weeks ago, it feels like. I think 2 weeks ago. So I haven't had a chance to really field any of the new stuff that Scum got or anything like that. But I'm just excited for X-Wing in general. Any changes are good changes. And to see how it shakes out. I'm looking forward to finding a list that really gets me going. So that I can buckle down and do the best I can to play that list and only that list between now and LVO, which, by the way, is approximately 3 3/4 months away from us now. So we need to start buckling down and figure out what we're going to play in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's an on table, right?
Yep, in person.
There you go.
I think you're right, because I'm kind of in that same mode too. This week the GSP tournament was hyperspace. I was supposed to play in it. I played one game. Good Lord. I played one game, and then I had to drop because my internet went out, and then I felt bad. It's like, well, I could have done what happened to, like, Charles, where that opponent didn't show up for a while, and then it's like, it just seems mean. That just seems like a mean thing to do. But then I found out later that I ended up giving somebody a buy. So, like, I feel really bad. But at the same token, I just didn't want somebody to sit around and wait for me because you never know how long it could take to come back up.
Right.
It was 15 minutes. So
That's a
what
good chunk of
sucks.
time though when you're talking about like so shortening the game and everything like that. So I don't know. I think that is probably not fun, but at the same time, I think that's admirable. Really, if you're going to drop on an online tournament for 15 minutes, that's
Yeah. So I didn't have anything good, but I did get to run the list I've been playing a little bit here and there. And I will tell you, I'm not as impressed as I thought I would be. It was fun to jam and to drop bombs on people, but when you have to fight, the one list I fought against was nothing but bombs. So,
you don't need actions when you have bombs, and therefore jam is largely ineffective.
Yep.
Right.
And who knew? Thermals are still good at 5. Just saying.
Thermals are good at 10.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to get up to 10, but I imagine they're going to bump them another point. Thermals are good. Thermals are solid.
Yeah. Especially because they didn't even have Count Dooku. I just happened to roll really good every time I had to roll for one of the stupid bombs.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't roll great
right.
when I was shooting, but I could sure as hell roll really well whenever
Double
I
hits.
had to take. Yeah.
Every time.
Every time. Yep. Anyway, with that being said, so what do we want to do first, folks? What do we want to do first? Why don't we do the
maybe let's
resistance
talk about
stuff?
that tournament. We're still right there.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Let's go through the tournament. Let me pull that up. Ooh.
Might as well move right into it. Though I suppose we want to wait and see if maybe we get one of our if Catherine shows up.
It's okay. We'll go ahead and start.
All right.
We'll go ahead and start. We're going forward. So this is the GSP breakdown that they provided. I believe James Ritter does this. So they show you the Hoth representation breakdown, and then they show you the difference between the qualifiers, right? And I think this is where I always get really intrigued, right? And that's because this is a numbers game to me. You know, like, I get excited by numbers. So if you look here, we had 33 first order resistance and 29 rebel lists that well dwarf everything. Major turnoff, scum and villainy. So the first question I have is that Zam crew really changing scum? Is it like that powerful, or are people just sick of playing scum?
Probably that.
I don't think it's either of those things. If you want my honest opinion, X-Wing players, and this is not it. Yep, fair enough. X-Wing players is large, and this is not a dig on anybody, but my opinion, X-Wing players at large have a new shiny capability built into their brain. And so when you look at, we don't have the numbers from the last tournament till now, but when you look at a format that came out right after new ships premiered, you see more first order because we have brand new ships, not a resistance version of a ship that already exists in game and is really not that much different than the other versions of that ship. We had a brand new 2 ships drop in the bomber and the Whisper.
The bomber and the interceptor.
The bomber and it's the Whisper, isn't it?
Whisper.
Yep.
Modified.
So, yep. So, I mean, I think that we can attribute to the top end of the first order. But the also thing that we have to look at when it comes to Hoth is that Hoth is hyperspace. When we look at the representation that Scum has in hyperspace, the larger overarching meta, which is swarm meta and certain ships that do really well, a lot of those have been removed from Scum. You can't fly an M3A unnamed swarm because in hyperspace we're not allowed the nameless M3As. You can't fly, generics of a lot of the smaller point ships to form swarms. So you're left flying larger base ships or larger pointed ships, and Zam going up in points. I don't think that it kills the lists off because, I mean, if you look at the lists that did make it, a lot of them still have Zam in them. But I just think that I attribute it to some new toys for Rebel being able to play with, and 2 major toys for First Order that everybody wanted to try out. And when something like that drops, you get a lot of theory crafting when it comes to lists. And then this is the first tournament that everybody's been able to put them on the proverbial table and figure out what works and what doesn't work with them. So I think that more than anything attributes to the First Order skyrocketing in representation, and the scum and villainy dropping off quite a bit.
So I'm going through and looking up percentages of the faction that may cut, right? So we have Galactic Empire with 11%, Scum 9%, Galactic Republic 7.7%. Now, who do we have next? We have the Resistance coming in at 13%.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of looking at it. I mean, while you're looking through there, but it looks to me, except for one slight little, looks like Rebels are slightly higher representative in Top Cup than, like percentage wise, than all the rest of them. Looks like all the rest of them kind of, you had the right number in cut. It seems like that portion of it, like you're seeing like 9%. You had one in cut, like. You got here's 11 with one in cut. With the exception of having the Rebels slightly higher with 5, and then the 4 on the First Order. It looks like everything kind of had relatively good representation, right, Chris?
Yeah. So yep, Resistance is the big standout, right? At 13% versus Rebel at 17%. Those are the high percent of list versus cut, right? Now we could add up total list, what percentage of cut. Obviously, the Rebel is Rebel, then First Order, then Separatist. But this is how I always kind of like rate it, is if I'm playing it in a tournament and I'm looking at, I've got 20 lists, how many are going to make cut? So when we saw Zam go, we were seeing Separatists hit 20 to 23% cut rate for their faction.
Right.
Now it's not that. So the points changes, at least in hyperspace, have helped level some of that out. And this is where I just need to get a hold of Dion and them. There's got to be a master place we could keep all of this data. I can literally spend hours running all these numbers, and we could have the most boring statistics X-Wing show in the fucking galaxy.
Are you having trouble sleeping? Listen to the stats episode of Planning Phase Syndicate.
So is that something Fawn does? Isn't that Fawn? Doesn't he do like the spreadsheets?
So he does. Yeah, he does that, but he does like points evaluations. So basically, based on how many points, what it is, how it affects the ship. Therefore, the ship gives you a base level and an enhanced level, right?
Gotcha.
Based on what you're paying points wise. And I don't think he's up to date. I know he's not up to date with the new ships. That I know for a fact.
Would make sense. I think he requires time on stuff to make the stats out there, anyways.
Yes, his are a lot more complex. This is like an aftershot. This is what I do for a living, actually, but not for X-Wing. If somebody wants to pay me
I
to
missed
do
that
this,
job week. I missed that career.
There you go. You're gonna have to apply it as Mode.
X-Wing statistician.
AMG, whatever.
You know what? We're gonna take this portion of the episode, we're gonna record another piece, and I'm gonna send this to AMG and be like, who wants to pay me?
There you go. They have a cool logo. I mean, I wouldn't mind having that on a hat or a shirt for working there, man.
All right. So anyway, so Rebel statistically has a higher cut rate than every other faction. Resistance than FO. I think Rebel is going to be interesting. We need to have.
Yes, Psych J has already offered us a nice cease and desist.
Oh, come on! How do you not want to look at statistics? All right, we'll move on. I'll take your advice, Psych J, for tonight.
I think he was joking about AMG and like using TTS, but I mean that's just my thought.
Well, they don't have to know that's where they come from. I don't have to disclose that. I will not disclose that. How about that? I don't want to lose my online play. All right, so do we want to start top or bottom?
I mean, everybody wants to be on bottom, right?
All right, so we're gonna start at the bottom.
Yeah, you always go from the bottom to the top, right? At least when you're talking about cut, it's like that suspense.
All right, so the first list that we're gonna go over, this gentleman actually declined to play in the cut, hence getting the next list that we'll talk about in. So this guy is Steve Labarge. He is running Howl Runner, Ruthless, Hull Upgrade, Mauler, Scourge, Iden, Gideon, and Wampa.
That's awesome.
That's a lot of name ties.
No, it's a tie. It's a tie swarm again. It's they're back. I love it.
I'm excited, and I have already built this list and put it in my kit. So
Does
There
that
you
say
go.
correct? 6-0,
yeah, he went 6-0. Yep.
and then declined to play in the cut.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Did
you
he?
got
Is it because they already had an invite? Is that what happened?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I was at a movie, so once I dropped, I was like, I'm done.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
I don't know. All right. So the next list, Charles, you want to take the next list?
Sure. The next list was is that Thomas Johansson
Yep.
with the Galactic Republic running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is that 6 or 7? 6 V-Wings, all identical, I believe. R3 Astromech, Synchronized Console, Besh, and Connor Nets. Oh, one of them only had Besh and Connor Nets. Sorry, you can't fit that in, but still R3 Astromech and Synchronized Console, Besh and Connor Nets on 5 of the 6, and then one apparently lower rank in the military, can't afford all the upgrades, so he just got Besh and Connor Nets.
So,
and if I'm not mistaken, Besh allows you to. Is Besh the one that allows you to share? Is that the one that allows you to share target locks or not target locks?
why don't you want to bring it up in the overlay?
That's what I'm doing right now. Bam. So while you perform a primary attack, you may spend your lock on the defender to change one of your blank or focus results to a hit result. And it adds the bombing slot to the V-Wing, which gives you the option of placing Connor Nets on them. So you could spend your target. If you don't need to re-roll, then you can just spend it to guarantee a result. And it gives you that Connor Net slot. And Connor Nets are just ion, are they not?
I believe so. Yes.
And damage. Why don't you bring Connor in?
I'm working on it right now.
I think it's a damage in ions.
But the Connor Nets does not show what the
it's a damage. It's 1 damage, and then I believe you get ionized.
Yeah,
I think it's 3 ion tokens. Yeah.
So minimal damage, but lots and lots of board control because it's a mine, so it doesn't explode. It stays until someone flies through it.
1 damage and 3 ions. Psych is saying thank you, Psych.
So yeah, so that's a lot of ship control, especially in a maneuverable ship like the V-Wing. You got the R3 Astromech and Synchronized Console. That's a lot of Connor Nets hitting the ground.
That is.
This is one of those lists that I like to say doesn't exist in real life because I don't know a single person that has 6 V-Wings, and I also don't know a person that has 6.
You do
Connor
now,
Net
apparently.
tokens.
Chris Tanner does.
You have
I
6.
have 5.
Oh, okay.
My son has 2. So
do you have that many Connor Nets?
I have quite a few.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I've never used a Connor Net in my life. At least in person.
I know you can buy them secondarily from places like Curled Paw. They have like acrylic versions of them. But as far as the actual cardboard,
it seems like I've gotten a lot of Connor Nets. I don't know.
Yeah, I might. I don't know. I've never ran a list with that many Connor Nets. Now, here's the irony. I have a list almost identical to this that I was going to run this weekend. I did not put the Connor Nets on, though that I was using I upgraded the pilot and I had put on what dedicated because dedicated lets you do re-rolls. But I can see how the Connor Nets are probably just a better buy in the long run, maybe the dedicated, but I don't know. All I may know is that I'm excited for this list, and now I have to beg my son to let me borrow it because I want to put that one on the table too.
Absolutely,
for sure.
All right, Charles, you want to do the next one too, since it's the only Scum list. I didn't know that it would.
Yeah, no, you're good. So Cam Murray, who is a name amongst the X-Wing community, especially in the Midwest area, flying Bosk with Zam, Gamut Key, Greedo, and Electronic Baffle. So you can take, I believe it's take a shield or take a damage to remove a stress token. So you can do some crazy things there. The escape craft with L337 and Deadeye shot. So you can Deadeye shot is spending a crit down to a hit or spending a hit to force your opponent to reveal a damage card.
Yep.
Old T with Predator, which is fairly static, although I prefer Old T with Elusive over Predator personally. And then you have your Jinta Security Y-Wing. So this was the first instance of a Y-Wing being brought into the top 16 in Hoth, just with an ion cannon turret on the Janata Security Officer. So I don't see anything like being honest, like as a Scum player, the only thing that I see that I've never seen before, pre points change is Baffle on Bosk, and using L337 in the escape craft instead of Lando, with Deadeye shot on it. Normally you don't see a lot of upgrades on the shuttle itself because it tends to die pretty quick. But having Deadeye shot seems interesting for when you do get those shots where you're following. So pretty solid overall list, I think, and congrats to him on making top 16.
Awesome. So the next list that we have, and this is the first order list, we have Kylo in the Tide Whisper with sensor scramblers, which is logical, jamming suite, the I4 Tide Whisper with fanatical sensor and jamming suite, and the Jameis TIE Bomber pilot with clusters and engine upgrade, and Grudge with clusters and engine upgrade. It's kind of like a weird Rebel hodgepodgey version, in my opinion. That's kind of how I see that.
First order salad?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I don't know. I have not ran Kylo, but I did run the Bomber and Grudge and one of the Whispers. So, I don't know. The other thing I wanted to do is kind of look at, if you look at the different cut rates, so like Cam Murphy is 4 and 3. So he obviously was 4 and 2. Thomas was 4 and 2. Thomas only made it because one person dropped, which is exciting. But that's kind of the thing is, as we go through here, I'm putting their actual cut rate because I think it's interesting to see the ones that were only one loss versus the 2 losses. So this tells me this list is not probably as good as maybe some of the other first order lists, but we'll see here in a minute. So the next one is Travis Smithwick. Matt, did you want to run through that? Did you get it up yet? No. All right. Charles, you're up then.
I got it. So it is the VCX Freighter. That is the big old ghost. Currently the largest ship in smaller X-Wing until we get our Gauntlet fighter, which according to the Twitch post that we saw is going to be a massive ship to put on the table. But running Kanan Jarrus with the new upgrade Compassion, fire control systems and dorsal turret. Luke in the T-65 with Shattering Shot and the S-Foils. And then Snips with Instinctive Aim, Shattering Shot, Concussive Missiles, and Vectored Cannons, which is the RC. That's the RC1 configuration, right?
Yes. Yep. So what's interesting is we have Kanan Jarrus he shows up. I think that's really awesome.
The VCX has always kind of vexed me a little bit. And the reason I say that is it plays a lot like the Decimator. In my brain, it shouldn't play well because it has 0 defense die. So in other words, you just point all your guns at it and make it go boom. But it has so many hull that you've got to have 2 consecutive rounds almost, unless you've got really good dice, to eat through enough of it to even make it worth it. So the age-old question, do you ignore it and go after the other ships that are, a little easier to half point, or do you double down and hope that they don't do their job in taking you out and just go in at it? I love the VCX, but when I fly it, it drops like a fly. But when other people fly it, I can't seem to get it off the board. So maybe I'm the problem.
That could be. I could say that when I fly against it, usually I see, what's that guy's name? the traitor from Rebels.
Oh, Terex?
Not Terex. It's the guy with the stupid sideburns.
I know
Callus.
you. Yeah,
Callus.
Agent Callus.
Thank you. I just never remember his name. That's who usually I have to fly against. I've never seen
Because I believe
anybody
his name
fly
is Sideburns. We just didn't realize
sideburns.
it.
Can we just call him? Can we?
Let's just call him Logan.
There you go.
And that's fair. He does kind of look like Logan.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's what I usually see. So it's exciting to see Callus. I don't see anything like earth-shattering personally. I do kind of like Ahsoka Tano with the concussion missiles. I think that's kind of cool because it allows her to still do her thing, range, to give her, whatever she wants to do to give, actions to Kanan or to Luke. And then she still can shoot missiles typically. So I kind of think that's pretty cool. And I really kind of like Ahsoka Tano with concussion missiles over Prockets, personally. All right, the next one, Matt, you want to run through it?
Sure. It's Kaspar's Belinda's. Okay. Kly NXB, I guess, is what they go by. KLY NXB. Rebel list looks like 200 points, which probably is not abnormal. 10 Nub in the B-Wing. Stabilized S-Foils. Braylon in the B-Wing. Stabilized S-Foils. Dutch Vander in the Y-Wing with the Tierfon belly run. Ion cannon turret, ion torpedoes, an R3 astromech, and Garvin Dries with the servo motor S-Foils. So, surprised not to see Hera. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, because Hera could fit right in there cheaper than Braylon can. Which is the double tap one? Is it Braylon or 10 Nub?
All of them are double tap. It's that thing, but none of them have cannons, though, so none of them are double tap.
That's interesting, actually.
Because the S-Foils you can bring, but you can't double tap without a cannon. It's a cannon, you can get a cannon shot if you're locking still.
So that's very interesting. This is a very interesting list.
Yeah.
How about this? We saw Teflon Belly Rub make it. So
yeah. Well, for me, like I would probably switch out Braylon or 10, one of the two. I mean, whichever you prefer to really run. And then you run a little bit much, pared down Dutch Vander. Ion torpedoes, R3, and an ion cannon turret. There's enough there. You can run at least a couple like tractor beams. I mean, then you at least got the double tapping or ion cannons on the B-Wings. I don't know. Obviously, they did way better than I ever have, so obviously that's probably the right way to do it. But yeah, it's interesting. It's odd to see. I did not expect to see it. I'm not. Kind of a surprise.
All right, Charles, next.
We got a first order list for Christopher Patrick. Ended up looks like I'm assuming 5-1, and then lost in the cut. Running Silencer Kylo with extreme maneuvers, the sensor scramblers and APT. Rush with ATP, and then Breach with feedback ping, prime thrusters, ion torpedo, and concussion bombs.
Does it not have that thing strapped onto it?
It's in the silencer. That's why.
The sensor scrambler.
No, not the sensor scrambler. The
jamming.
Breach is. Oh, it's the bomber, not the Whisper. Sorry, my mistake.
Yep.
So this is pretty close to the same list that we've seen somewhat running around. Other than Breach, I use Breach. I like Breach. I think Breach is really good. I did not put prime thrusters on my Breach, but I had Scorch in my list. So I think overall a good list. Again, I like seeing the concussion bombs as an add-on, but I don't know. Well,
Breach is reroll, right? Reroll for damage, isn't that what Breach is? Or am I?
I think Breach is when you. I think Breach is when you have flown through a ship or something like that, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
So
I'll just bring it up on screen.
After you fully execute a maneuver or perform a boost action, which is great with prime thrusters, if you moved through an enemy ship, you may acquire a lock on that ship. So basically, just by flying through them, you get a lock.
Handy.
So
basically double modded.
When I ran it, it did not trigger all the time, but I had missiles on mine, and then what I would do is the goal was to be able to boost through, take your target lock, do a red turnaround maneuver, and be able to shoot, torpedoes. And because they have the shorter turnaround maneuvers, you typically, I put APTs on mine, and you're able to get some of those things off a little bit easier.
Cool.
With it.
Seems awesome. And also to be able to throw APTs after doing a red maneuver would be cool.
Yes.
So here's a question that I have for you guys, because I don't fly first order. I don't understand first order. It's fine. But does breach become largely ineffective against large and medium base ships, considering that you can't considering that you cannot boost over or through a large or medium base ship because it's only a 1-speed maneuver, so it effectively negates that primed thrusters ability that they have?
So yes and no. It negates prime thrusters, but it does not negate moving through. So you can still move through them and do.
But that's you'd have to pre-plan your red maneuver rather than be able to do a boost over top of it. And can you pull it back up real quick?
Well, hopscotching. You could always hopscotch, basically, if you're lower initiative, hopscotch.
Real quick.
Higher initiative, I think, would be a lot about being lucky, right? You're moving after the other person.
Okay, no. What I wanted to know is how they worded the locking. Because if you may take a target lock action, then medium base ships would effectively completely remove it because you'd have to do a K turn to get through it. And if it's taken action, you can't do it at all.
Right. So it's
acquiring a lock is actually pretty strong because you still get your mod even though you did a red maneuver. So that's not terrible.
Yep.
Interesting.
All right. Let's keep moving along.
Yes, sir.
Next list is Luke, Sunnel with Jake, Ahsoka, and Hera, all with rockets, and then Dutch with proton torpedoes. This is nothing new. Other than
it all fits.
That's
fits. New.
Well, no, it all fit before.
No, it all fit before.
Yeah.
I want to pull up Dutch real quick because this is his second instance in the top 16.
So Dutch Vander is the one that gives locks.
Yep.
So when Dutch gets a lock, he may give another lock to a friendly ship range 1 to 3. Yes. They may acquire a lock.
So you're essentially double modding your rockets.
So the question that I have is, because again, this is the second instance in this top 16 that Dutch has been in a top 16 list. Did he drop in points? I don't know because I didn't look at the Rebel point sheet, but did he drop in points or did something happen that made him suddenly...
I doubt it, Charles, but I will check for you. Hold on.
Just curious because, we've had multiple tournaments available to run a very similar list, and Dutch did not move at all.
No.
Loss of gunner and added missile slots. Oh, okay.
Yes. He can now take protons if he wants, or he could take concussions or prockets or anything.
Sounds good. Cool. Just curious.
But he could always take torpedoes, right, Chris?
Dutch, yes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
yeah, that's not changed. I think that the biggest thing here is that they would have lost points because Hera came up in points there.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a Rebel list. I don't care for Rebel that much.
Dutch is solid support. Always has been. Always will be solid support for the Rebels.
All right, Matt, you want to review this Resistance list?
Sure. Why not? Last person in top 16, Andrew Euler, ended up with Jessica Pava with the integrated S foils. Legos Fang. Okay. Lega Fosang in the Y Wing. That's a new one. Oh, okay, there you go. And then 3 other just New Republic patrols in the Y Wings. All the Y Wings have dorsal turrets and engine upgrades, looks like. So that is the only one I've seen of the new Resistance. That's kind of cool.
That gives them a white boost, which for a Y Wing is something great.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's the boost that helps those a lot. Yeah.
Yep, which gives them the free calculate, all of that type of stuff, right? So,
but they, yep.
So Lega
that would come from the upgrade.
Yes, it comes from the upgrade. So Lega says, while you perform a primary cannon attack, you may re-roll 1 die for each friendly device or calculating friendly ship in your arc. So Lega
Gotcha.
is your you fly her in, get her close, behind the other Y-Wings, and it's just kind of like a tag team, take it down. Jessica also provides extra rerolls. I think this is a solid list. To be honest with you, it's nice seeing the new B-Wing or B-Wings, the new Y-Wings and Resistance show up.
For sure.
I'm happy because this is the first major Y-Wing list that we saw.
Yep.
So that was cool. He went 5-2, which was
5 and 1,
probably
yep.
4 or a 5-1, and then lost in the first round.
Yeah. Very solid. I wouldn't mind flying it. Oh well.
I know when I
have to get better
got
at them.
home from work in the afternoon, and it was around round 3, he was undefeated. Andrew was 3-0.
There you go.
So
cool.
All right, Charles, you want to hit the next list?
Sure. This one is pretty thematically the same as what we're used to seeing, except before it was Zam, but with Zam skyrocketing in points for the ship, switching over to Django with Dooku, thermal detonators, hull upgrades, Slave 1, and suppressive gunner. Grievous with plating and Solus 1, and then insert your appropriately pointed support ship in there. In this case, it was Gorgle in the Nantex versus I saw some where they were running a tub, or some where they were running, something else in that third support ship slot.
So who would have thought Nantex still good?
Well,
Nantex
Nantex
get rid of
Fire
them.
Slay plus Grievous. I mean,
All right, we're gonna move
This
on.
has been around for a while. This ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. I don't even like that list, and I play Separatist.
Then we got Grudge with 3 bombers or 4 bomber list, 5 bombers. 1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4, 5. 5 bombers.
Yep. And this is Michael
5 total.
O'Connor. And they all had cluster
Michael
mines,
Connor.
and one had thermal detonators with it.
Grudge. Yep, Grudge.
I believe
That's
this
a lot
one
of
was
bomb
on stream
clusters.
too.
That's a lot. Well, that's mines. Those cluster mines are pretty awesome too, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, the cluster mines came out to be better. I still personally think cluster mines are too expensive, but that's just my opinion. I think they could come down 2 points.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I look at from a 1.0 perspective, cluster mines have always been expensive. But the reason I think that is because they are 3 separate instances. That if you're able to slap 2 of them on somebody, or somebody has to fly through 2 of them, or if you get lucky and they happen to do a straight maneuver through all 3, that is 6 red dice. That's
right.
2 ships worth of red dice that they throw at that they can't evade. You just have to hope that they roll terribly for 6 consecutive dice. I think that for me justifies the point cost.
And being able to boost drop is huge, because it's so simple for them just to boost drop. Like, that's, I think, going to be, I don't know, time may vary, but I'm going to tell you that boost drop, that's very, very tough. Like, you never want to get anywhere near one of these things, because they're constantly going to be able to do that boost drop, and it's very not fun. Not to mention the fact with Grudge, don't you get for each instance of one of those cluster mines anyways, don't they have, you get to have them re-roll each dice that they roll there, so basically
Only
they roll their
for
2
what's
dice.
left. Yes. So So if they hit 2 of them, the first time you get to re-roll 2. The second time you only get to re-roll 1 though, because the bomb disappears off the map. Boom, 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 boom. That's how we saw that play out. So, but yes, you're right. It's still, again, right. If you hit them with 1, only 1, it's still pretty big, because that's still pretty huge. You being able to say, well, you only rolled hit blank. I want you to re-roll that. That's,
and it's
saw
not
that against
both
Luke.
dice. It's just which dice you pick, correct, Chris?
Yeah, you can say 1 or all. It's up to you.
Gotcha.
It's not as good as Count Dooku, but now can you give me Count Dooku?
I mean, still pretty good. But usable more than once, though, which is crazy.
I'm not a historic expert, but I believe he was dead by that
Okay,
time.
good God. Jesus Christ. Moving on. Next list is Benjamin, and this is that TIE swarm list that we talked about earlier. So it may cut twice, just so you know. Both at 6-0. Or, I'm sorry, one at 6-0 and
This
one
one's
at 5-1. Yep.
Yeah.
all I see is a meme of tie swarms are good. Who knew? Because they've always been good. Tie swarms are a lot of guns. So
In my opinion, Psych J, clusters are not better than proxies. I don't care what anyone says. I like proxies better. So.
Yeah, but proximity mines aren't hyper legal.
No, they're not. But it's a guaranteed damage.
If I had a choice in a standard tournament, I would take proxies over clusters all day, every day. But that's just me personally.
You're forgetting the rerolls from Grudge.
True.
That's the thing about clusters.
There you go. Fair enough. If you're running Grudge, take cluster. If you're running anybody else, something else.
Well, because you get it for each device in range 0 to 1 of the ship that's flying, right?
Good Lord, if you dump a bunch of them that nobody flew. Hey, Catherine, how's second place feeling?
There you go.
Hey,
sitting at the top of the list.
Speak of the devil.
Okay. We'll move on to the next one. This one is the same.
We just kind of hop skipping past this. It's Django with Grievous and insert support ship.
And whatever. I mean, highlight, independent, calculate, free, 100% good. There you go.
There you go.
And this is
on
DBS
this list,
404,
definitely.
So
there's literally no point in running anything but independent calculates on that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nope, I agree. We're moving past that list. That's same old, same old. The next one is Mike Messiah. Matt, you want to take it?
Sure. Von Reg and the Interceptor, Ty BA. Daredevil, Kylo Ren in the TIE Whisper with enhanced jamming suite, Grudge with thermal detonators, Sinar Jameis in the TIE Bomber, Electro Chafe missiles, first time we've seen those out there, and thermal detonators. Interesting. So first order salad?
Yeah, wait, exactly. And the first thing I said was that Electro Chafe missiles are amazing. Then I played them against Psych J this week, and I was like, they're stupid. I don't want to play them anymore. And then I played them a second time, and they're amazing. They are worth way more than 4 effing points. And I'll tell you what, like, if you need threat tracers because you have a swarm, great. If you don't have a swarm and you could take these things, they're awesome. They move 3, 4, 3. I don't know. I insanely loved them when I played with them, and I was very surprised at their effectiveness for the one time you get it, because it sits on the board twice. So if somebody jousts you, boom, there you go. Have a nice time. Like, you're all getting jammed.
I'm hearing you say they're only good against anybody that's not Psych J. Got it.
All right. No, they were good against Psych J too. It was not as effective. We'll put it that way. He didn't joust me when we played in the same format as other lists that we saw this weekend jousting. So I think
situationally very good.
Yep. I think I would watch out. Personally, I would have dropped Von Reg from this list, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't like running Von Reg, so.
Von Reg's a good solid piece, though, as long as you fly him well. I don't necessarily fly him well, but, Daredevil Von Reg is pretty nice.
All right, Matt, you're up next.
All right. Mike Maui Thompson. Mike Maui. No, nice guy. Super nice guy. Anyways, Rebel Alliance, 200 points. Leia Organa in the YT 1300 Light Freighter. Compassion with hull upgrade. Luke Skywalker in the T-65 X-Wing with ion torpedoes and servo motor S-foils. Ahsoka Tano in the RZA-1. A-Wing for the win. Instinctive aim and prockets, which interesting on the instinctive aim there, but I suppose you could then get a lock instead of the focus. So no avoiding those freaking things.
Yeah.
Rebel salad. Turns out still good.
Yep. And there's Leia.
Leia.
What did we say was going to be good when we went through points? Leia is now going to be good.
Yeah, with compassion, definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
Going to be able to
force procket is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and to be able to to get that force back and like kind of mitigate damage on some of your other ships can be pretty tight. So definitely can confirm.
So next up, we have Catherine. There you go.
Kicking some tail with the Rebel Alliance. Something I never thought I'd see.
And so I'm going to wax poetic for a second here. And we've talked about how my love of Destiny and the different styles of play styles. This is a control list from hell. This seriously is. This like I guess I
This is
never
the
thought.
counterspell deck in X-Wing.
Yes, this is 100%. You know, Ahsoka Tano is not quite so much, but her being able to come back and kind of, you know, mop everything up is great. But this is like the biggest control list like I've seen, I think, successfully played. How about that? I've seen others played, but
Right.
I've not seen any successfully played. A and B, who'd ever thought we'd fucking ever see Y-Wings from Rebels of all places in
Right.
Top Cut? I never would have thought that. Personally.
Yeah.
So there you go, Catherine. The question is the reason you chose this Y-Wing in Rebel because it's cheaper than all the other ones so you can fit more tools? Or is Ahsoka actually the key piece that forced you to choose this list in Rebel over Republic or Resistance? And while she's thinking about that, can you bring the Shattering Shot back up? I want to review Shattering Shot.
That's what I was just looking at because for me, it says
that's the range 0 of an obstacle, as I recall.
Range 0 of an obstacle, or why isn't it coming up? Hold on.
Because you don't know how to do it? I don't know.
You're right. That's probably accurate.
You want me to do it for you?
Probably.
She for faction pins, Chris. That was the choice in Rebels.
All right. Well, damn it.
When you got skill, what's it matter what faction you run?
All right. So I'm a little disappointed because I was hoping you were going to tell me Ahsoka Tano is just that great.
Perfect answer. Sorry. Perfect answer.
I need to have another drink.
Oh, nailed that one, Catherine. That's perfect.
That answer amazing was yes, I appreciate you think I had some nefarious like secret plan of why I'm running this amazing list, and realistically I just wanted Chinese.
Nah, bro, I needed the pin.
All right. Well, there's Shattering Shot. While you perform an attack, if the attack is obstructed by an obstacle, or the defender is at range 0 of an obstacle, you can spend 1 force to add 1 eyeball result. Obviously, this is really good. We predicted this would be good and probably starting to be stable to some of the force lists. So,
force is that 1 point as well? Shattering Shot?
No.
Is it more?
It's more than that.
2?
Yeah.
It's
not very many points. I thought it was pretty.
Or no,
yeah, it's like 3 or 4.
Is it 3 or 4? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's still cheap. It's not like 6 points. It's not like
it's on purpose then.
I'm curious. Question to ask.
Is it less points than like a where do they have it? The Foresight. Is it less points than Foresight now? Then is that what that is?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say because I know that she obviously had a tight list. You're not gonna get too many more things in there, but I'm gonna guess that Shattering Shot was the best for the money if I were to guess.
So Connor nets do not count as an obstacle, correct? They only count as a device when they're on the board.
Yeah,
so Shattering Shot does not trigger if someone is like. Well, I was thinking if they did, then Connor nets is amazing because you get to drop 4 more sets of obstacles that you can use with Shattering Shot. But I don't think that's how that works. I think it's just the obstacles that are placed. Damn, that'd be amazing, Catherine. Just saying.
All right. So
cool.
Good job, Catherine. Very excited to see you in Top Cut.
Catherine.
In fairness, I watched the last game again that you played in, so it was fun to see those Y-Wings go. You don't see that very often.
It's super cool to see somebody from the show that's like in here often up there at the leaderboard. Well done.
Congrats on succeeding in your goal of getting your pin.
Yeah, right?
All right. The first place winner, and this is no surprise. So I like Carson Ray. I love Carson Ray, but we have Poe with R4 and Protons, Rose with C3PO, Jessica Pava, and ZZ. So there you go, folks. In hyperspace, there was enough changes to some of the other meta lists that Resistance can take it all.
Salad.
Now, I will tell you that his dice were pretty hot, though. So I'm gonna pull a Mac here. And I'm going to say, in fairness, Carson's dice on that stream seemed pretty hot. I mean, his opening engagement was pretty aggressive. It really was. Like, you don't take typically you do not take 2 Y-wings off the board first engagement. That's usually, especially when
That's
all you
huge
have
with
is
only
aggressive as
those
proton torpedoes. I mean, come on, you know.
and they're not heavy hitters, not really. Now when you're talking about Y-wings, they have so much health. That's a lot of health to shoot through on 2 ships
Yeah.
in the opening salvo. That's a lot.
Yeah, so he I mean, again, it is only 1 green dice, but in fairness, I'm going to say they hit probably a little bit harder opening salvo. And if you lose, you know, almost 50% of your list, it's a lot harder to come back from, I think, than before. So, you know,
Right.
so there you go, Catherine.
One less Connor net drop. That's one less.
Yeah,
and I mean, I'm not
2.
Well, no, because I guarantee that Catherine normally expects to lose 1 in the opening salvo. I would almost guarantee that she's used to losing 1 of those in her opening salvo. I mean, not always. I'm sure she's happy when she doesn't lose it, but she's probably used to losing 1 in her opening salvo. That's where, you know, she's going to drop the counter net. She's going to start the control, but without having 2 of those pieces. It's kind of it's a big swing, and I know that like I'm not trying to I'm not like dice don't run the game, but sometimes I do notice that when you do lose that big first swing, like it becomes so it's so unbalanced. Sometimes it really is hard to come back, and your dice, that may be the best dice that he gets the entire game, right? Carson may throw never another hit, and his dice are terrible, and it just that beginning bit, like it's that confirmation bias kind of thing. So it's tough. I'm sorry to hear that. It's always really tricky because that's a lot of health to chew through.
So let's move on to the new ship. So now that we've actually looked at the tournament, right, and we went through FO ships, we did that last week. I want to kind of go through the resistance ships, right, that are left that we didn't go through, and the points, right? Because I think that's important a little bit to say, well, the base level Y-wing and resistance is 1 point more than what it is in Rebel, right? You know, and so I think going through and kind of talking through what do we feel the points are for the ships and some of the configurations is kind of where we want to go at, right? So let's start with the configurations well before we start with the ships, because I think they can kind of lead us into whether we feel the ships are worth it, A, and B, what did they not do with the frickin' Y-Wings? They didn't force you to take Wartime Loadout, which they did in the Whispers, make me take Jamming Suite, which is BS.
They're not forcing it, are they?
Well, in the Whisper, you might as well, because it doesn't do anything but take a tech upgrade slot. So whatever, you know. All right, so Charles, you're going to bring up the cards on the screen for me?
Yep.
All right. Will you bring up
I'm ready.
Wartime Loadout first?
Do you want me to read out, Chris?
Yeah.
Sure. All right. So if you do Wartime Loadout, it is a configuration. It adds 2 shields, and then adds target lock, reload, torpedo, and missile slot. You gain the missile and torpedo slot and replaces the ship ability with the following devastating barrage. While you perform a missile or torpedo attack, if the defender is in your bullseye, your crit results cannot be canceled by evade results. So basically, it's it's a missile auto blasters.
Yeah. I like it. It comes in at 4 points. I think it changes your resistance Y-wings a little bit, but the question is it too tight in price, right? You know, is it too tight in the price that you're adding 4 points and you're also getting rid of your intuitive controls or whatever the name of the Y-wing thing
Intuitive
is.
Interface.
Yep, intuitive interface.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of that, which again is not bad because it's forcing you to play like a Y-wing rather than play like a different ship. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get rid of that one and bring up
Chorus.
Can you tell me how to spell that?
Babu
Chorus Capellum,
Frank?
Corus. You talking about that one?
What?
Nope, sorry.
No. Babu Fink is next. You can get rid of the Wartime Loadout. There you go. All right. 7 points. We all know what he does. Basically, he allows you to stop from taking the straps, put it on a card, You spend an energy at the end of the round. You spend another energy because you have shit on the card. And then the next round, you can do another stressful maneuver, put it on the card. When it ends, you take everything. You know who this is good on? Ray with Corcella. Like, it's just like if you're going to bring Corcella, you might as well bring Ray. And it's an illicit upgrade. I want to know why I can't have Babu, Frink, and Separatist. That's what I want to know. Why do you get it in Scum?
Can you know? Oh, because you have resistance and
This
Scum.
is a spice runner, bro.
I don't. Okay.
You know who else was a spice? Hold on. You know who else was a spice runner?
Who?
Torkelmux.
Fuck Torgo Mugs.
Was he alive then? Psych J is asking the obvious question. I do not know lore. I'm not gonna lie. Have no idea.
Man, I must not know how to spell Torkel Mug. There you go. That's my thoughts on Torkel Mugs. So
Yep.
I think 7 points is. I think personally, right now, 7 points is rightly costed. Right? We don't know how broken you can make this. I do think this can be broken pretty easily.
I think
This
it's
is-
cool on Death Ray.
Yeah. Go ahead, Charles.
I was gonna say we didn't see him appear at all.
Nope.
Top
we didn't.
16.
Nope. And he is Hyperspace Eagle, but you can only play him in Resistance and Scum, and as we see, nobody played Scum, so
Or
that's
Resistance,
part of
hardly
it.
any. Very little in both of them.
Yeah, and you can't in Resistance. You can't play the YT at all, so it doesn't exist in Hyperspace, which it should. 100%.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
100% doesn't exist.
Give me Ray. Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey John. Yes, give me Death Rain with Poe or Death Ray with Poe in Hyperspace. Thank you. I think this is a good
solid
card.
list.
Personally.
I enjoyed it.
So
You can actually, if you're doing that in Hyperspace, you can actually, with the new 200-point format, you can actually run a Y-Wing or an A-Wing in there. You can actually trim down Poe a little bit and trim down Ray a little bit.
All right. Hey, Matt, I think we got some theory crafting to do tonight.
Disgusting.
All right. Can you bring up L4ER5 or L4E-R5? Somebody. So the new astromech.
Yep. At the start of engagement, it adds the rotate into calculate. At the start of engagement phase, you may transfer one of your calculate tokens to a friendly ship in your firing arc.
4 points. I don't know. I think it's overcosted. You can have the Watchful Astromech for 2 points. And we already talked about that. And the Watchful Astromech is pretty good. So
Isn't it for that one though that allows you? There's one of these that allows you to be able to basically. I think it'd be it allows you to re-roll for people that have calculates, right? Calculating ships in your arc. There's one of them that has.
yeah, you could be right. So
there is one of them.
I don't know. For 4 points, I think this is overpriced, but that's just me.
Yeah. It's Lega. Lega allows you to do a re-roll. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's.
Yeah, it is Lega, and she's 33. So, all right. So now we have Zori coming in at 40, Teza at 37, Wilsa at 34, Sasha at 33, Lega at 33, Akbar at 34, Chorus at 33, Scythrael at 34, and then the talent slot Y-Wing at 32, and the Spice Runner at 31. I don't know. So, initial thoughts. I know, Charles, you probably don't have a lot of thoughts because you don't ever run Resistance, but
You're not wrong.
I ran Zori. I probably ran her wrong. There's some filthy things that Zori can do, but when it comes down to it, Zori's in a Y-Wing, and they are big, they are fat, and they are slow. Even with the boosts and the ability to barrel roll, and again, I could have played it in properly. I'm not about to say obviously I'd never played it before. So it could, I think, be a really strong platform. It's interesting. I think it's more niche, but I would be happy to be proven wrong because it'd be interesting to see a Zori Blitz meta.
Yeah.
What's the best ship? The Fat Y-Wing for the Resistance.
So I'm going to say I think Zori... I think all of the named Republic Y-Wings are... all of them, but... really all of them, but Akbar and Scytherial, all of them are overcosted by 1 to 2 points. You know, I think that the lower level ones should also drop a point, but I could see why they would cost a little bit more just because of the fact that they have the ability to either have Wartime Loadout or they have the effect that they could take that intuitive interface and upgrade it. But if you think about it, intuitive interface naturally forces you to take a minimum of 3 points. And so you're adding 3 points, and Wartime Loadout is 4 points. So really, Wartime Loadout should be 3 points, and then it allows you to make the decision which you would like to take, right? I don't know. I think you could have fixed this by making... you have to make it all cheaper, or just give them all white actions, right?
Yep. But
And
it's the
then
2 shields, Chris.
leaving the points the same, you know.
Yeah, but those 2 shields. That's what I'm saying. 2 shields for 4 points. Ridiculous.
No, you're right. That is really good, but you're also losing the extra thing. I think, again, I'm in the opinion that this stuff is overcosted. If those were white, the points would probably be fair, and then Wartime Loadout would probably make more sense. But really, in this format, Wartime Loadout should be either 2 to 3 points, and I would probably cite in a caution of 2 points. I get your point. The shields are really good. I don't disagree with you.
I think Catherine is saying what you're saying too, which Wartime is undercosted and the base is overcosted. So yeah, I think I would agree with you there.
I don't know. I think I look at it maybe a little bit different in that I have seen personally Chris, John, myself, and Matt consistently on certain ships pay 6 points for a shield. So even without all the other stuff that Wartime does, 4 points for 2 shields is ridiculous.
And I don't know. I still think, personally, I think it's overcosted because it takes away your native ability. And you're right, but it takes away that native ability that just says, hey, here's 2 shields. I don't know.
How much is for the Delta 7 that adds 2 shields?
That's a whole different.
The Delta 7 is a lot, but it adds 2 shields and removes an agility dice. So,
yeah.
And fine, that is a bit different.
And you know what? I agree, fine. Put Wartime Loadout at a variable cost. That I would
based
be
on
okay
pilot
with that
skill.
Too. Yep. Yeah, I'm okay with that too. So
yeah. And I mean, I think we're gonna after flying it. I think I personally would attempt to do a Wartime Loadout next with Zari, so she has a little bit more oomph, and then put a little bit more like APTs in there or something to try to just push out that little bit more damage and also decrease her points a little bit. Like for me, the way I loaded her out, she was too many points and she popped too quickly. So something that like would have basically prolonged her life. I think that in the future, I will pretty much always be strapping that Wartime Loadout if it were me from next time.
Well,
I agree with Catherine. Without Wartime Loadout, your native ability is really almost useless on those Y-Wings.
Unless you spend the upgrade points. Yes. And hence why the points and those don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That said, massive props to Andrew Oler for making cut with those overcosted Y-Wings.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He did Wartime Loadout though, didn't he?
No. Nope.
He did not.
No.
Interesting.
Nope. All right. So before we get into the list that excites us, I want to do one thing. I want to do a system malfunction. Can we do a system malfunction this week?
We absolutely can.
All right.
Absolutely we can.
I'm going to we're going to do system malfunction. There we are. Now we're all back. I flipped screens and I can't remember what the name of the screen. So system. Thanks, Catherine. I'm going to do a system malfunction anyway. So Charles, we're going to do one. I want to do one because I got excited because GA97 crew in Resistance, and this is extended BS. GA97 crew is crazy, right? And we talk about like Talavera, right, in Scum. And who's
Yep.
And who's the other Scum that can basically fly off the board and come back?
Morello Evol.
Thank you. And they don't see a lot of play, but they're very costed, highly costed. So, Charles, why don't you bring up, or Matt, I don't care who. Somebody.
It's funny you mentioned that, but
what do we bring up?
Just on the top end of it, Marcelo flew Morello Evol in the tournament this yesterday.
Marcel Manzano?
Marcel Manzano flew Morello Evol, I believe.
Phenomenal pilot. So. What do we want to bring up? Marcel?
Nope, Charles got it. He has it. So we have the GA97 crew. Before placing forces, you may spend 3 to 5 energy. If you do, choose another friendly ship and assign it's the Resistance condition card.
That's pretty cool.
That card essentially says that you get to set up in reserve. You could spend the energy. That's how many rounds you stay. When you come in, you're going to come in on a board edge, kind of like what Fen does, right? And that's where we see this crew usually used, is with Fen. Then if that other ship is destroyed, you get to bring that in. Now, so here's a little history. I didn't know who GA97 was, but he's a servant droid, or they are a servant droid in the castle for Maz, right? And they're essentially aligned with the Resistance, hence why they're in Resistance. And essentially what they kind of do is they are the infrastructure and intelligence network that kind of comes about, right? And when people decide to come and try to find this droid, he's destroyed, right? He's gone. He's not there anymore. But it's in this is, in my opinion, this is a broken card that just needs to be fixed inside of Extended. And I have a list that I will be playing in Extended to test this. But essentially, you can use this to take any of your Resistance ships and hide them. You want to hide Poe? You want a Points Fortress Poe? Here you go. Here's a Points Fortress droid. We're going to hide Poe. Come take my ship out. And guess what? Couches now bloody have frickin' sync laser cannons. So couches can now sit back very far away, shoot at you from the distance, backtrack. They can do all sorts of crazy stuff to stay away from you at range 3. And then all of a sudden, here comes Poe. Here comes Rey. Here comes ZZ. I don't know, whoever that bloody hell you want to disappear on the board. And they're going to come in at range 3 beyond you with the disarm token. They can't shoot you, but hey, guess what? If they're behind you. So if you don't, you're going to have to do a turnaround maneuver or face this ship coming after you. No, I don't think it's broken. It's not like Torkoal Mux. So I don't personally think this is a specifically broken card, but I think it's a card that is being underutilized. So, fellas, what's your thought on this?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Nobody's excited. Jesus Christ.
I'm not excited. I mean, what do you... Go ahead.
It's not that I'm not excited, right? Because I've played something very similar, not exactly like this, but kind of, I guess you could say the opposite of this, when you have Boba allow you to deploy, right up on somebody, or using Tel Tavura, like you said, to pull her back to the start area so that she's disengaged and can gain better position. I think the only part that I don't like about this is that after GA97 is destroyed, you must deploy, then gain 1 disarm. So where I get confused, and this is my idiot brain. So the ship that he's on, right? So hold on, let me go back to him.
So if the ship that he's on is destroyed, then the ship that was off the board immediately comes in.
Choose a friendly ship that gets the condition that makes it start in reserve. Okay.
You got it.
So if the ship that he's on gets destroyed, then that other ship immediately deploys. I think that chunk needs to be gone.
No, I think that okay. Why would you make that gone?
Yeah, why?
So
that helps to balance the card.
Well, no, because here's the thing. So when the card gets full, you have to deploy the ship.
Right.
So what's to stop you from cards that, when this ship gets charges back, you spend your charges so that it doesn't get those charges, and you're able to keep, for instance,
It's a
Ray.
crew, and I don't think you can get charges. Getting charges back won't help you. It's getting rid of them that helps to hold it off the board.
No, what I'm saying is if there are cards in the game that if a ship were to gain charges, you can prevent it from doing so. I don't know how well they pair with this, but my thing is I have a incentive as a opposing player to target the ship that GA97 is on to kill it right away if that last paragraph or that last sentence is not there. Right? I have a vested interest in being hyper aggressive to take that ship off the board. With that last sentence in there, okay. So I just don't engage you. I stay as far away from your ship as I possibly can and force you to put both ships on the board before I engage. So now we go, if you spend 5 points, right? We have 5 rounds of no engagement, or 4, or 3 rounds, or 2 rounds of 0 engagement because I'm not willing to face everything that I have at one ship that I then get flanked. So this ship or this card encourages those opening 4 or 5 rounds of non-engagement. That is the most boring game of X-Wing, period. If I wanted this, I want you to be hyper aggressive. I want you to come at that ship because then I can outfly you. I can get around you. And then once you've engaged it, then flank you. But currently standing, there is no benefit for me to kill the ship because if I spend my munitions blowing up the ship that has G9 or GA97 on it, what have I done? Absolutely nothing because now I have an entire list that has no tools against a full health ship that enters round 5.
Yes.
Or round 3 or round 4. It's there's no upside to the opposing player to do anything other than stay away from you.
Yes, exactly. And so that's so I disagree with you a little bit. I think there still is other reasons why you would want to engage and take it off the board and deal with it. Because when it does come in, it's still coming in disarmed. It's not going to come in and shoot you. Like if it came in and shoot you, that would be BS.
Well, it comes in beyond range 3. So
yeah.
You're not gonna, you don't get engaged by that ship till the next turn. So you have the ability to kill this ship. That other ship appears in reserve, then you can turn and engage that ship.
Okay, so let's put this into play here.
Sure.
So you have G9A7 on Ray on the Falcon.
Okay.
Right? Hypothetically.
I mean, you could. If you wanted to, yeah.
And
I wouldn't do that, but you could.
I wouldn't do that either.
Or whatever resistance ship you could put it on.
Or probably like Kova. Something small.
And then you put it's a resistance on Death Ray. So you put Death Ray out of the game.
Or Poe. Yeah. Probably
somebody. Any high gunship. I, as the opposing player, engage and kill off Kova. I've shot a procket. I've done something to try and kill off this ship.
Got it.
Now I have no tools, and here comes Death Ray. After I've either taken damage potentially or have had to use my munitions to kill the ship that had it. Again, there's no benefit for me to be hyper engaging. There is a much larger benefit for me to say, okay, you spent 5 charges, so I'm going to spend 5 rounds doing 4Ks on my side of the board until you show me where that ship's going to be, and now we'll play a regular game of X-Wing.
Well, here's the other thing, though. Here's one thing that neither of you guys are really talking about, right? In this particular situation, in this exact setup, you're talking about either Chris or I, which I agree, we're probably both talking about the same thing. You either keep Ray out or you keep Poe out, regardless of which, depending on the way the setup is going to be and which one you think should come in. You're losing the gun for that number of rounds as well, right? Death Ray hits with consistently 5 hits, right? So if I were setting up against it on, let's say Ray was being out and is going to come in on round 5, I would run as hard as I possibly could against Poe or whatever support ship Ray is going to have, because quite simply, that there's going to be reinforcements coming. So basically, that there is no reinforcements for 4 turns, right? So you can go right at Poe. Let's say it's Poe Ray, and you throw V Marati in there with this GA, thing. Doesn't hit very hard. not like one of those like worried about it guns, but Poe is alone now, basically, for all intents and purposes, if Rey stays out, or vice versa. So there is a disadvantage, right? You're trying to go right for the ship containing this, but if it were me, I would go for the support ship to the support ship, if you will.
So that's a good point. That's actually a good point, because you are losing that gun. But at the same token, if I did run for 5 turns and then decided to engage, it's now like we just played X-Wing for nothing. We did nothing. We just started setting up, except for all in odd positions. So this card, in my opinion, should be banned. But I'm gonna play this, and we're gonna see how good it is. And maybe Catherine should play this. God damn it. Maybe it's not me. It should be somebody that knows how to make cut more than I do. So, but I'm gonna side a little bit more with Charles in the fact that I would probably be more hesitant to engage it unless they had a bunch of ships. So, for example, if I had 4 fireballs in Death Ray, and one of the fireballs, the droid one can carry this, by the way. Just so you all know. And you can put Dead Man Switch on it too. Anyway.
Been planning this, have we?
Yep, I played with this because I think it's I think this is a hilarious. Remember when Holdo was all of a sudden a thing, and they all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this and trade this, and you're just like, what in God's green earth is this shit? And you're like, this is BS. Somebody nerf this and get rid of this because nobody should have to deal with this many BS interactions.
Well, we did end up seeing, though, Amlin Holdo disappear.
We did, yeah. I think this will disappear once you learn how to play against it. And maybe because nobody watches our show, really, but a few people. there's only going to be a few people that know the secret. Maybe we should join a club and do the next GSP tournament and just go after this and just see how well this does. I don't know. Yeah. I think the interaction, like Charles is saying, I believe it borderlines a negative play experience. Personally, that's how I feel about this. I will play this 100%, but I feel this can lead to negative play experiences pretty easily. Personally,
so I have a question for you. If you were playing 4 fireballs and Rey, right? In this particular setup, that's what you're talking about, right? Would you not set up 4 fireballs on one side of the mat and Rey on the other side of the mat? Is that not what you would do? Because that's kind of like something I think I would do, is like set them up on either side of the mat, kind of like pick your poison kind of style, and then being able to fly them in together. Like if you're concentrating on the 4 fireballs, Rey's shooting you in the ass. If you're concentrating on Rey, 4 fireballs are shooting you in the ass. You see what I mean? It's just like, for me, I think that it seems like it'd be very good. It seems like it would be really, really great, and it seems like it's really good. But I will say it wasn't. People were using this, and where they used it on was Finn, right? They put the droid on Rose. It was a Rose pod and a Finn pod, and they brought it in on Finn, so that Finn could come in, because it's a relatively unmaneuverable ship. It's, like basically the one forward to victory. So the great part about those Finn coming in late is that they could kind of like have him off the board, because he is a liability at a point, but if you can come in behind people, then it is a little bit better, because he's basically just a slow boat. And realistically and consistent damage, but he is still a slow boat.
Yep. And in fairness, Matt, you're probably right, because we haven't seen this make cut. We haven't seen this be played and extended. Nobody's really playing this very much. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying is when we talk about weird effed up interactions that could cause negative play experiences that are not separatists, I feel this kind of fits that boat, and I wanted to highlight it. And I'll tell you what, over the next week, if anybody, I had to travel for work, so if people want to play late night games against me, either with this or against it in extended, I'll happily play people just for the fun of it. So I want to see if it does work, and if there is, I like list building, and this felt like a list building opportunity that would really piss a lot of people off personally. And
I think it's interesting. I agree.
Hence, we have officially 100% pissed people off. So, Yep.
I see what you're saying. I can understand it, especially if you're like playing on kitchen table style X-wing. I agree with you completely. This definitely can be a negative play experience. The way we're talking about it, that could also be a negative play experience. It depends. But then again, honestly, losing 2 Y-wings in your first opening salvo, I believe that's also a negative play experience. So,
hey,
you
it's
know.
not negative because she was in Top Cut, so I don't want to hear it. It sucks, but it's not a negative play experience. All right, so let's move on to the last segment that I wanted to cover, and this is essentially ships. God damn it, lists that we felt were fun. So we're gonna start with Charles. Maybe Charles.
Yeah.
What? Oh, can somebody get rid of the card, and I'll bring
I
back
got
up
you.
the thing.
There we go. Card
Alright.
is gone. Ba, ba, ba.
So sorry, give me a second. I'm gonna readjust this. All right, so Charles will get the first list. So these are lists that after a week of list building and fun shenanigans, I just kind of wanted to go through and say, hey, what are you excited to fly? Right? Obviously, really none of us flew in the tournament this weekend, but what are things that you're excited to fly? So Charles, the first list I brought up is your Scum Y-Wing list, which is cool. Let us know why.
I got excited, as you guys know. No one's off guard on overtune modulators. So in my boring, like sitting in the waiting room at eye doctor places and stuff on my list building apps, came up with a couple of different lists that I think would be fun and I think would be interesting in order to just see what I can do with overtune modulators and see if I can make it as fun as I want it to be. So in this one, I have Cavil first, which everybody loves Cavil. When you perform a non-primary attack, you get an additional die. That makes that ion cannon a 4-die attack out the sides and back of your ship.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. You have Deadeye Shot on the front end of your ship so that you can use that to expose damage cards. R4 making all of them that much more maneuverable because the speed of your 1 and 2 maneuvers is cheaper. With Drea Renthal, while non-limited ships perform an attack, if you have the defender in your firing arc, they get a reroll. So that helps the hired guns stay. I could definitely see that, Catherine. The spammed overtune has mass stim / reinforce issues. I'm not saying that. I just wanted to try it out. And then on the high end, I have dorsal turret on Drea, and then hired guns. I've got Deadeye Shot, Plasma Torps, R4 overtuned dorsal turret, and munitions failsafe. So if my dice come up bad for the Plasma Torps, I can save them for another shot later on. I don't know how good it's going to be. It's probably trash, but it looks like a lot of fun. And ultimately, for me, that's what I care about most is whether or not I'm going to have fun. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. So here's my list, which is one of my lists, right? So we have a few lists that we theory crafted here. We won't give you all of them because I have about 15 lists. So this one is what I call the Teflon belly rub list from hell. And essentially it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Y-Wings with ion cannon turrets and R4s and Teflon belly rubs. And that's it. You bring rocks, you run through them, you sit on them, and I'm not gonna drop them. I don't want to. It's the point of it is to be silly and fun. All I care about is being silly.
I don't know. I think I'm with Catherine.
So I get the point. I get your point, but I like the free calculates, right? If you do something, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's hilarious. I just think it's I want to be able to park. I literally want to park my Y-Wings on rocks, just like separatist ships. That's all I care. Like that's all I care. I don't think this is competitive at all. I just think it's hilarious.
So Psych J in the chat actually posted Lega Fosang with ion turret, L4ER5 and engine upgrade, and then 4 New Republic patrols, or 3 New Republic patrols with ion cannon turret and engine upgrade, and then the resistance transport pod with Rose, expert handling, and C3PO. So kind of similar to what you're running, just without the belly rub.
Hey, I like clankers. I don't care what you say.
Do not emulate clankers. Your clone allies liable
Oh,
to
that
confuse
is
and
funny.
shoot you.
Yep. I don't care.
Right.
Anyway,
Okay.
so I think this is hilarious, Psych J, but you don't have Teflon belly rub on there. So
Yeah. Got
You
to
failed,
apparently
bro.
have a Teflon belly rose.
all I care about is that. I want to make that card good again.
So
All
what
right.
I'm hearing is Chris really likes belly rubs.
That's what I heard.
I do actually. But
What I heard.
anyway, can we let's move past that.
Too much
And on to the
information,
next
and on
topic.
we move.
All right, Matt sent me this Scum list, which I was kind of surprised by because Matt doesn't run Scum all the time. So
All the time.
go ahead, read your list down, Matt.
Which one is it? You talk about the IGs?
Your IG list.
Yeah. So, like, looking at the robots, I kind of was excited to see that you could run the 2 of them now with a little bit of actual help. So, I did 2 IGs, IGC and IGB. IGB gives you the extra attack, and then IGC should be, yeah, IGC is the one that gives you the focus into evade. So I got elusive in there, and each one of them tractor beams, contraband cybernetics, and advanced sensors, as well as the IG-2000 title. And then I ran Uncar plot and the quadrajet transfer with the IG-88D and contraband cybernetics. I just thought it was interesting. I don't know why I thought it was fun, but it did look like a little bit of fun, and I just thought, whatever. But if I probably could change it around, I'd probably change it so I could not do IG D, but unfortunately that's the one you have to use to do your to give the extra fun to the Uncar plot. So I don't know, maybe I would change that around a little bit in practice, but it was just something I was kind of playing with, and it looked like fun. With the new ports, you can fit 2 IG robots with some love. So looked like fun.
I mean, with the new points, you can actually fit 3 IGs in there.
You can.
They're
could
very
before.
minimally
It's just-
built, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they're still fun.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Charles's
I don't know.
next list is a Scum list, obviously.
Who knew? So this list was one that I was going to run on Thursday, but instead ended up doing commentary with you, Chris, so that our members of our community could play and enjoy the game. But Kanan with Malice, Maul, false transponder codes, hull upgrade, and Moldy Crow. That's an 82-point hawk. Probably not the best place to put my points, but I don't care. I want to run Malice and Maul on Kanan. Running Dengar, marksmanship, auto blasters, Greedo, hull upgrade, perceptive copilot. And then throwing a Y-Wing in there for the heck of it. We'll throw Cavill with composure, dorsal turret. So again, Cavill makes that dorsal turret a 3-dice side or rear arc attack. And then R4 keeping it up. And then if Cavill does fail in action, so I try to boost, I can take a focus if I need to, just to make sure that I'm covered.
Hold
Hold on,
I was
Catherine.
wondering if it's legal in chat. It
Why
is
is
because you
Kanan-
get Maul Crew.
Yep, Maul Crew allows Kanan to use dark size upgrades. So Maul Crew on Kanan allows Kanan to use dark side force upgrades, which opens Malice for Kanan.
Okay, so you do know, thematic wise, it would be very weird to have Maul and Kanan in the same ship, right? Like,
Nope.
Kanan hated Maul with a fucking passion.
Maybe he's a prisoner then.
Okay. All right.
There's your
fine.
theme.
All right, fine.
Star Wars
Star
What
Wars
If.
What
That's
If.
right,
There you go. Okay.
Star Wars What If?
That force-sensitive- that
Doesn't matter. They're
force-sensitive
dirty
droid.
space pirates anyway. So
All right.
dirty
So-
space, whatever you call them.
The next list that I was excited to run, again, this is an extended list kind of theme here. I want to run 2 of the TIE Whispers, just the I2s with Fanatical, bio hex crypt codes and the jamming suite, because why the fuck not? Then Kylo Ren with the same thing, as well, in the TIE Whisper. And then I want to run the Z shuttle with a First Order courier, General Hux, sensor buoys, and biohex codes, which probably could go, but I have to spend a point, so I don't know what else to spend it on. So General Hux says while you perform a white action, oh, that's right. So I have to actually change this. Because you have to add tactical officer on. You dump this, and then there you go. Whatever.
Catherine just let you know you need a TAC officer.
Yeah. Fuck off. I built this and then never resaved it. Okay, so yes, so
you can see why we're saying toying with this. See, guys?
yes. So the idea is that I could coordinate, I could spend locks, with this type of a thing. I could spend the locks, go past range, whatever range I want. I can have my sensor buoys to come in, which forces you to waste shots at them, so I can run in fast. What I need is 5 more points, really, because I would really like to be able to put those sensor things, whatever they call them. Not sensor things. I'm sorry, the fanatical back on here, so that I get the free action to change one focus to a hit. Because I really think for 1 point that's great. But I just think this is hilarious because General Hux can do all of this crazy stuff. You can start jamming at range 3. It's just crazy to me. Like, you're just gonna jam at range 3. I don't know. Like, again, I think it's silly. It's probably not really that good of a list, but I think it'll be a funny haha type list. You probably could strip down the tactical officer and General Hux, and do something a little bit different. Not worry about the range 3 coordinate, honestly, and add a few more toys to this, and it would be even more fun. So, all right. The next list is Matt gave is another FO list. Matt, you want to run it down?
Sure. So again, with my kind of horsing around with some of the stuff that existed already, I know that there's a lot of new stuff, but I'm kind of old, so I guess new tricks aren't ready for me yet. So I was looking at the quick draw in the TIE SF with Fanatical, Pattern Analyzer, Special Forces Gunner, Afterburners, and Fire Control System. Kylo Ren in the TIE Whisper, so it is, of course, has that new one, Enhanced Jamming Suite. Got to do that. Biohex Crypt Codes, Concussion Missiles, Instinctive Aim, and Marksmanship. And Von Reg without Maneuver in the TIE Interceptor. TIE BA Interceptor. Looked like a little bit of fun. And then with the Biohex Crypt Codes and the Enhanced Jamming Suite, I thought that would be kind of awesome. So, yeah. Just 3 high-end, high-initiative ships, kind of like the Maces out there.
Fair enough.
How would you guys change it? Just
how would I change it?
I would
remove Von Reg. I know how Chris would change it. Sorry,
I would get rid of Von Reg and Quick Draw.
Got it. So just one ship list then.
No, I would add other things. I don't disagree. Von Reg can be good. It's just he's not my favorite. I'm sorry.
I don't fly him well. I think he's good if you know what you're doing, but it's just for me. Von Reg is a more expensive version of Soontir. And again, if you know what you're doing and you fly Soontir well, he is so good. But I fly Soontir like I fly Fen, and that gets him killed. So
Sensor Scramblies.
Yeah, those are really good too.
While you're cloaked.
Yeah. Charles's last list is again another Scum list because he must not fly anything but Scum.
Listen, all right. Nothing new came out for Republic other than lower points. I will get around to it. This week's just been busy. These are the ones I was kicking around. In 1.0, there was a fun thing that, statistically speaking, Hawks were the best pilot or best ships because they were the only ship in the game that increased their damage output 100% at range 1 because they went from 1 dice to 2 dice. So I want to field a bunch of hawks. And so I thought that I would take some of the named hawks, throw them together, because Kanan and Maul with hate, overtuned modulators, Paylob with cutthroat, overtuned and moldy crow, Gamut Key with overtuned, and then the hawk with Forlom and overtuned just allows you to hold on to tokens and make sure that your ships are all modded and have a whole lot of fun.
Okay.
Um,
Did you not say Torkoal Mux because you knew I was going to give you shit for it?
yeah,
You-
I kind of skipped past it because I didn't feel like hearing it. Um, and Catherine, I intend on following up with you at some point in time this week to dig a little more into Republic to see what I can build there and what's fun. Because I really have been having a lot of fun with Republic. I'm just absolute garbage at building Republic lists. So I may need your assistance considering their old empire, and I know that's what you get into. So
All right. So the last list that excites us is my droid separatist list.
Chris flew separatist with droids in it.
Oh,
Huh.
No.
Shock and awe.
you can run. This is stupid. This is stupid. I don't know. This might be good. Who knows? You can run the I3s with discords and independent calculating crappling struts, 2 with red tracers and 3 with clusters for 200 points. I don't know. I don't know. Might be
Catherine's reviving the Ion meta.
good. That's
Yeah.
true. You
Yeah,
can
I
have
don't
all
know.
your ions pull me off a rock.
It's a lot of ions. I don't know.
So, okay, hold on. Can I ask a question? How does that
Sure.
actually work, right? So, if I dial in a droid maneuver, I can't go one forward. Like, if I'm ionized, does it just pull you off the rock then, technically speaking? Or because you're not allowed to leave the rock, does the ion not work? I know the answer to that, but it's just hilarious.
I don't know what the answer is, honestly. So what is
The answer is
judgment?
you don't
Move
set a
one
dial
forward.
and you go one forward. That's the
fine.
answer.
Yeah.
But the other
And
answer
since
is
you can't calculate,
Yeah.
you can't take your focus, so it's fucked too.
yes. So I could get screwed because you can't take any focuses.
Yeah.
100%. So hopefully we don't have an ion meta. If we
I
do,
think-
I'm
I
just
think
gonna
we
jump on
will,
the
just so you know.
bandwagon. I'm jumping
I
on the
think
bandwagon.
ions should deal damage to droids. Just saying.
Oh my
After
god.
playing with Sean the other day too, and those ion missiles were so cheap, I was like, yeah, this is the new meta. Yep. So just so everybody knows, the ion is the new meta. I'm calling it now.
Well,
I might
look,
be completely wrong.
you can get rid of clusters and put ions on these things.
Yep.
They like them apples. And I got
Yeah.
6 points I don't know what to do with.
There you go.
All right. Okay, folks. All right. I think we've had enough fun for tonight.
Mhm.
We will not be streaming on Thursday. I apologize. I have to travel for work. I could probably try to do it, but I can't take my setup. So I'm going to sound like a poop. So if you want to play with us on Thursday, let us know. Otherwise, I might just I'll if anybody wants to play games, let me know. I have nothing better to do in a hotel room. So I just I just don't think I want to drag my whole streaming setup to
Yeah, right. That
stream
would be
on
fun.
Thursday. I am driving and it's a 5-hour
Totally.
journey, but I just don't know if I want to do that. So
Mhm.
so if there's interest in playing on Thursdays, let me know. Otherwise, maybe we'll just do some games where we jump in Discord. We can all chat and play on TTS. I'm up for that too. I have another 4 Whisper lists I would like to play at some point to see if it's any good as well. So either which way, thank you all for joining us. We've had a good night. Congratulations again, Catherine, on making Top Cut and getting into the final. So I think I'm excited, and maybe it's just because I'm newer and we've known you through here and through X-Wing Debrief. So like, I get excited when people that engage with me make cut. So I like that. That's just me. I feel like we
too.
know somebody that's a celebrity. So there you go. Maybe you should come on the show, Catherine. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do that. You could come on the show and you could pick Matt and Charles apart on Republic List, and I'll just be quiet and sit in the corner and not say anything. And you can shame them publicly on air. All right. With that being said, we're gonna end the show. Thank you all for joining us. We'll have another show. We will be back next Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can support the show by joining us on Discord. You can support the show by joining us on Patreon, or you can use the Twitch link and hit subscribe and throw a few bucks that way, either which way. Thank you all. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week, Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a good night, everyone.